에이씨, 토익이나 공부해야지. 응?
Hey everyone, it's been a while since I uploaded the video here, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about where I've been and what's been going lately. The short version is I've been quite busy, not because of my daily routines like playing music or working out, but actually with job interviews. Because back in March, I quit my teaching job, and ever since then, I've been applying like crazy. Like every day, I was sending out resumes, cover letters, and for months, it was just rejection after rejection. No calls, no interviews, nothing. So basically, I started thinking maybe my application just wasn't good enough. I mean, my TOEIC score is 885, which honestly isn't bad, but considering my background, having studied abroad and everything, I thought maybe it's not impressive enough. But turns out I was completely wrong. I actually got my first interview call when I was traveling in Japan like 2 weeks ago from a company that manufactures the medical appliances. So of course I said yes. I came back to Korea and went to the interview. And that experience, honestly, it made me realize a couple of really important things. It's not always about your test scores, your GPA, or even your certificates. There's something else they're looking for. So during the interview, he asked me, why do you think companies haven't been interested in calling you for interviews? So I have this pretty global background. I've lived in America, China, and the Netherlands for almost half of my life. I speak and write professionally in both Korean and English. I mean, I've even published a couple of books in both languages. From his point of view, I have a really unique background. That's why he was interested in interviewing me. And honestly, I didn't know what to say. I mean, I've been wondering for the same question almost for months as well. And he pointed out something I'd never considered before. He said that the career path I'm presenting through my resume doesn't feel consistent. Like people who studied economies usually apply for jobs in finance or business. People with a physics background might go into data science or engineering, but me, I majored in physics, but then worked at an English academy for over a year and a half, and now I'm a published writer. Pretty unusual path, yeah, but while that can be interesting, for many companies, it just raises a question. How does that even relate to the job you're applying for? So after that interview, I took some time to really revise my essay. If you're someone who's currently looking for a job like me, I want to share a few tips that have helped me recently. So first of all, I used Job Korea for most of my applications. A lot of companies in Korea accept the Job Korea standard format, so it makes the process a bit smoother and easier once you get the hang of it. One thing I personally like about the platform is that it actually allows you to choose the prompts yourself when you're writing your essay. That gave me a chance to pick questions that aligned well with my story. Here are a few prompts I chose. So first of all, why do you think you're a competitive candidate in this global era? I used this to highlight my international background, living in the US, China, and the Netherlands, and to emphasize that I can write professionally in both Korean and English. I wanted to show that I'm someone who can move fluidly between cultures and communicate effectively in global environments. And the next question was, what are your strengths and how do they contribute to your work? So for this one, I talked about my consistency. I mentioned that I've never missed a single day, whether it was in school or at work. And while that might sound like a small thing to some people, companies really value reliability. Showing up every day without fail, that counts for a lot. And the next thing was that what principles guide your daily life? This one was actually a more philosophical one. Instead of writing about specific pros and cons, I wanted to share a story that really shaped the way I live my life. Back when I was in high school in the US, I had this vague dream of studying in Europe someday. I didn't know how or when, it just felt like something I really wanted. especially because I had a lot of European friends. But with an American high school diploma, I had no idea how that would even work. So honestly, right up until the college application deadline, I assumed I'd just end up at a university in the US. But as many people know, tuition fees in the US are insanely expensive. So I started looking for alternatives, just casually Googling European universities. And to my surprise, I found out that there are actually ways that I could apply even with my diploma. The only catch was that I needed a certain number of AP courses and scores depending on the majors. And fortunately, without even knowing this ahead of time, I had already worked hard in high school and taken a bunch of AP classes just because I wanted to challenge myself. And that's when it hit me. If you just live every single day doing your best with what's in front of you, things will work out, even the things you didn't plan for. That's why I don't stress too much about the future anymore. You don't always need to have a perfect strategy or long-term plan. Sometimes the preparation you do now will open the doors you didn't even know how it could have existed later on. So for me, it's not about predicting the outcomes, it's about giving your best effort every single day. So I applied to several companies for the role of education content planner with this essay. And to my surprise, I started getting calls. I'm literally getting calls every single day now. So here's the takeaway. I spent months wondering why I wasn't even getting interviews. I started doubting my abilities, my language scores, even considered retaking the TOEIC exam or stacking more certificates. But in the end, the problem wasn't that I wasn't good enough. It was that I wasn't applying to the right places that actually aligned with who I am. So basically, if you're constantly getting rejection letters, just like I did for months, it might not be because you don't have enough specs or qualifications. It could be that you haven't clearly defined who you really are in your application. And I know it's really easy to blame yourself. A lot of people tend to think I didn't get the opportunity because I'm not good enough. But I really don't think you should be so harsh on yourself. I believe everyone has their own strengths. Everyone has their own story, their own value. Maybe it's just that you haven't found the right way to express it yet. Or maybe you haven't found the place where your story clicks with what a company needs. That doesn't mean you're lacking. It just means the right timing, the right company, and the right presentation haven't lined up yet. And I know how tough it is in Korea right now to find a job. And I know for some people it can take even longer. Sometimes it takes a year or more, and that's okay. But please don't give up just yet. If you're living each day with sincerity, doing your best with what you have, I believe everyone eventually gets their shots. And when it comes, you'll be ready.